The bank's real number just called you, but the bank didn't. Same name you've saved, the same 1-800 line printed on the back of your card, and a calm voice saying there's fraud on your account. Here's the twist to hold on to. The number on your screen is not a fact anyone checked. It's a label the caller filled in, like the return address you scribble on an envelope, which the post office never verifies. Caller ID was built to display whatever the calling system claims and to trust it. So a scammer types your bank's name and your bank's number into a field, and your phone prints it as the truth. This is caller ID spoofing, and it is the quiet engine under a huge slice of phone fraud. Imposter scams are the single most reported fraud in America, with billions of dollars reported lost in 1 year. But here's why you can walk away from this video unbeatable. You don't have to detect the fake. You just have to stop trusting any number that calls you. So here's the plan. Why the network prints a lie, why they wear your bank on purpose, the one sentence a real bank will never say, the fix the phone companies are building and the gap it still leaves, and the 10-second move that beats every spoofed call for free. No fear, just the wiring. Because once you've seen it, no fake number can fool you again. Let's get into it. Beat 1. The number is a claim, not a check. Picture how a call actually reaches you, because the whole trick lives in one weak link. When someone calls, their phone system hands the network a piece of information that says, "Here is the number to display." The network's job, historically, was simple: carry the call and show that number. It was built in an era of a few trusted phone companies, so it was designed to believe what it was told. It forwards the claimed number, and your phone prints it. Nowhere in that chain does anything stop and verify that the caller is who the number says. So the mental shift for this beat is this. Caller ID is not a lie detector. It's a name tag the caller writes for himself. And modern calling makes that name tag trivially editable, the same way a business can legitimately show its main office number. When a call comes from any of 100 desks, a scammer can type your bank's name and your bank's real number into that field, and it arrives looking flawless. The display is a costume, and anyone can wear it. Which leads straight to the obvious, uncomfortable question. If literally any caller can make my screen say anything, how is that even allowed? Because the tool itself is neutral, but wearing your bank's face is not. That's beat 2. Beat 2. Why they wear your bank. Faking caller ID is not, by itself, a crime. Hospitals mask their numbers, call centers show one main line, domestic violence shelters hide their location. The technology is neutral plumbing. What's illegal is using it to defraud you. And under the Truth in Caller ID Act, doing that can cost the faker up to $10,000 per call. But the law is a punishment after the fact. The switch is everywhere, and enforcement can't reach an operation running from another country. So they reach for the disguise that works best on a human being, a name you already trust. They don't pick a random number. They pick your bank, because you'll answer a bank. They pick a local prefix that matches your own area code because you're far likelier to answer a neighbor than a stranger. It's called neighbor spoofing. The most unsettling version makes your own number call you. And notice the psychology, because it's the entire point. The familiar label isn't a technical trick. It's a trust trick. It's chosen to switch off the caution you'd feel from an unknown caller and switch on the reflex to help. So the reframe for this beat: the more trustworthy the name on your screen, the more deliberately it was chosen, which leaves the question the whole defense turns on. If I can't trust the number and I can't trust the name, what is left that they can't fake? One thing, and it's the tell that never lies. Beat 3. Beat 3, the tell that never lies. Everything on your screen can be forged. The number, the name, even a little verified mark can be missing on a real call. So stop trying to catch them by the caller ID. Catch them by the ask. Because no matter how perfect the disguise, a scammer always has to do one thing a real bank never does: get you to hand over money or access while they stay on the line. So here are the sentences that should end the call every single time. 1. Read me the verification code we just texted you. A real bank sends that code to keep people like this caller out. It will never call and ask you to read it back. 2. Your account is compromised. Move your money to a safe account to protect it. No real bank has a safe account, and no real bank moves your money for you over the phone. That sentence exists only to make you wire your savings to a criminal. 3. Stay on the line while we fix this. Don't hang up. Don't call anyone. That urgency is not concern. It's crowd control. It's there to keep you from doing the one thing that beats them. So the rule for this beat is short and total. The request is the fingerprint. A caller who needs a code, a transfer, or your uninterrupted attention has just told you who they are, no matter what the screen says. Which raises the fair question, isn't the phone industry doing anything about all this? They are, but you need to know exactly how far it goes and where it stops. Beat 4. Beat 4, the fix and its gap. For decades, the network genuinely could not verify a calling number. So the phone companies built a system to change that. It's called STIR shaken, and under FCC rules, the major phone providers were required to put it in place by the middle of 2021. In plain terms, when a call passes between carriers that both support it, the network can cryptographically sign that the calling number is legitimate, and your phone can show a verified caller mark. It's real progress, and it's why obvious robocall spoofing is a little harder than it used to be. But here's the gap you must hold on to because scammers live in it. The signing only works when every link in the call's path supports it, and plenty don't. Calls that hop through international gateways, older equipment, or smaller carriers can arrive unsigned, and a determined fraudster routes through exactly those paths. So a verified mark is a small green light, nice to have, but the absence of one is not a red light. Millions of perfectly real calls still show up unverified. So do not upgrade your trust from the number looks right to the checkmark looks right. Both can be gamed or simply missing. The only thing that can't be spoofed is a number you dial yourself, which is the whole ball game. Beat 5. Beat 5, the 10-second move that beats all of it. Here's the entire defense, and it costs nothing. When a call claims to be your bank, a government agency, a delivery company, and anyone with power over your money, you do one thing. You hang up. Then you find the number yourself. On the back of your bank card, on your paper statement, in the official app you already have. And you call that number. Never the number that called you, and never a number the caller gives you, because both of those lead back to them. When you dial a number you looked up, you choose the destination, and there is nothing left for them to spoof. If it was really your bank, a 30-second callback costs you nothing. If it wasn't, you just walked away from a robbery. That one habit, hang up, look it up, call back, defeats the entire class because it doesn't depend on you spotting a fake. It assumes every incoming number could be a fake and routes around all of them. And it scales because the same mask wears every face. The IRS threatening arrest, Amazon about a suspicious order, Medicare needing your number, even a grandchild's voice in trouble. The AI-cloned cousin of this exact trick. One rule covers them all. An incoming call is never proof of who's calling. Verify on a line you chose. Report the fake to the FTC and the FCC. Both are free, both are on screen. And then let it go, because you were never in danger the moment you refused to trust the screen. So here's the whole trick in one breath. The number on your screen is not a fact the network checked. It's a label the caller types in, a name tag written by a stranger, and your phone prints it as truth. They wear your bank, a local prefix, even your own number because a familiar face switches off your guard. That's the entire point of the disguise. Everything on the screen can be forged, so you stop reading the screen and start reading the ask. A real bank never needs you to read back a code, move money to a safe account, or stay on the line. The request is the fingerprint. The phone companies are signing legitimate calls now with STIR shaken, but the coverage has gaps, so a missing checkmark proves nothing. And your move never changes. Hang up, look up the number yourself, and call back. Because the one number nobody can fake is the one you dial. The incoming number is never proof. The callback is. The next time your phone lights up with a name you trust and a voice that wants you to act right now, at your phone, or your dad's, you'll know exactly what you're looking at. Not proof, a costume. Somebody typed that name to borrow your trust, And it has no move left against a person who hangs up and calls back a number they looked up themselves. If this pulled back a curtain for you, consider subscribing. That's what this channel is for. The digital world explained in plain English, so you and the people you love stay a step ahead. And here's the one to watch next, because the same criminals now fake more than the number. They fake the voice. It's our breakdown of the AI voice scam, how a 30-second clip of your grandchild becomes a phone call begging for money, and how to beat it. It's on the channel right now. Send this video to the person in your life who always trusts the number on the screen. Stay sharp out there.